Still My Canadian Heart, Cargo has released their 20th anniversary limited edition Chill in the Six palette. If you're familiar about the brand Cargo, they are originally from Toronto, Canada, and as a Canadian myself, hailing from Quebec, I can't help but show love to Canadian brands. It's in our blood. We are friendly people. So guys, I have swatches for you. I'm wearing some of the shadows here, and I have filmed a tutorial which will be going live within a day of posting this, so be sure to be on the lookout. And if you're watching this and a day has surpassed, there's probably going to be a link below, so please do check out the info section, because I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of information down there. In case you miss anything, go check it out. So before I get swatching, just real quick, usually I will swatch across and I'll do rows. This time I didn't do that, and I swatched in quads. So as you can see, there's a quad here, and quad here, and I'm swatched them up as that. This is the kind of palette where it's meant to be as quads or as duos, but I didn't want to do as duos because that would have taken so long. So let's get swatching. So as you can see, the first shade is Yonge St, and this is a location in Toronto. This shade is a soft matte shade. It could be built up and used fully opaque, or you can use this and sheer it out all over the lid for your perfect primer color, perfect base color. Everything's gonna blend so effortlessly on top of this. Now the second shade I'm swatching up is Dundas St. So if you notice, there's two street names here, and that completes a duo. This is a beautiful medium taupe. This has a shimmer finish, so this is great for layering right on top of Yonge St because the beige and the taupe go together so well. The next shade is Maple, and Maple is a bronze shimmer shade. Very easy to work with, just like Dundas St. Very smooth, pigmented, just applied smooth like butter. And I feel like this would make an amazing lid shade. Just right over the lid, maybe put a little bit of Goose in the outer V, and you're good to go. Speaking of Goose, Goose is our next shade, and this is a dark brown matte. This shade rounds out your warm section of this cool tone palette. This shade is perfect for applying in the outer V, using as a liner, applying underneath the lower lash line, or if you want a really smoky dark look, you can apply this all over the lid and top it with either Maple or Dundas St. My advice to you guys is to apply this shade with a fluffy brush. Sure, you can apply it with a flat brush, but it's a little bit difficult to blend once it goes onto the lid. But if you're using a fluffier brush, it's already diffused once it gets on your lid, and it makes blending it out even further so much easier. And of course you can build it up using a fluffy brush, and then maybe pat a little bit more on with a flat brush once it's been a little bit, have your edges diffused already before you put it on. The shade is Blizzard, and this is a true silver shimmer. Very smooth, easy to apply. Again, all the shimmers in this palette are just a breeze to apply. No fallout, no problems, no chunky glitter in them. Just very, very easy to layer or apply it on their own. The next shade is and this is a dark gray shimmer. Perfect formula, perfect application. I found myself blending Blizzard and together because Blizzard can be a little bit too light on its own, whereas just needs something to complement it. So I like blending these two together to kind of create their own middle ground shadow, but each one worked well on their own. The next shade is Ice, and Ice is a medium blue matte. Blizzard and work so well over this shade. This is a great matte base shade to put your shimmers on top of. On its own, works well as a liner. Even wet your brush a little bit and make it into a liquid liner, and you got that really bold, deep blue liner, and I feel like it goes really well with the shimmery shades. Then we have Hockey, and Hockey is a black matte. This is another great shade to use as a liner. Ice, Hockey, and Goose, all really good liner shades, and Ontario as well. Really just wet your brush a little bit. If you've got a liquid liner, you can give yourself the nice wing liner, or you can use these on their own for smoky eye, or use these as a base under the shimmery shades. Now entering the last quad in this palette, which is the purple quad, and the first shade of that is Arctic. Arctic is a light pink shimmer. Very smooth. I kind of liked applying this shade underneath my brow and in the inner corner of my eye to brighten the eye, but you can again layer this or just wear it on its own. The next shade is The North, and this is a light purple shimmer. Again, just like with Blizzard and combining these two shades together creates a really nice shade, but you can of course apply them on their own or with others. Shimmer shades in this palette were just 100% amazing. One of my favorite shades of the palette is 1996, and this is a deep purple shimmer. Great for layering, great for wear on its own. tone, and it was opaque enough to be worn on its own, even though it is a shimmer shade. The last shade of this palette is Ontario, and this is a dark purple matte. As I mentioned before, you can wear this as a liner, wear this underneath. Use a fluffier brush if you want to have a more diffused look, and it's much easier to blend if you start with a fluffy look. If you start with a fluffy brush and have it blended out already, then applying it to the lid and then maybe not able to blend it a little bit. Some other notes about this palette is why I loved the matte shades. Again, if you're using a dense brush, one other thing I noticed was a little bit of fallout. So if you're using your dense brush, make sure you tap it off, or make sure you just make sure you don't put too much on your brush. Really be meticulous when applying these matte shadows, because otherwise you're going to wind up with little fallout crumblies as you're applying it. But once it's on, all of these shadows produce no fallout. So just make a note of that. Once on the lid, they're good to go, they're fine. In terms of longevity, these shades lasted 5 to 8 to 10 hours. Of course, the matte shades lasted longer than the shimmer shades, but you can fix that with a primer. Also, the shimmer shades, wet your brush a little bit after you've dabbed it in the shadow, and you will have the most intense metallic type shade. So you can take these from wet to dry, primer or no primer, very flexible set of shadows. Did I mention that this palette comes with a double-sided brush and a liner? And the liner was so incredibly smooth that I was able to apply it and get a winged perfect liner on my upper lid. I was able to blend it out while it was still a little bit, you know, still fresh on my lid, so you can do a nice smoky eye with that. But this was a pleasure, like a pleasure to put in the waterline. It glided so effortless, no pulling, no tugging, really 100% high quality. As for the brush itself, it features one fluffy side and one smaller side. The smaller side is great for lining and getting precision areas such as the inner corner of the eye, lining the lower lash line, or defining your outer V, and the fluffy side is perfect for application all over the lid, blending. I like to use the fluffy shade to apply my matte shades. Like to apply all over matte shades, while I like to use the bottom end to just define the areas if I want to add just a little bit more matte. Also, the fluffy area is great for your shimmer shades, whether you're using them wet or dry. This palette currently is limited edition and costs $34. I will leave a link below if you'd like to pick up this palette. If you've been sick of the warmer toned palettes and you're looking for something a little bit cooler toned and a little bit more fall winter, this is a great palette to pick up. So guys, have you picked up the Cargo Chill in the 6 palette? If you have, let me know what you guys think. By the way, I love the holographic snowflakes on this packaging. So adorable, and the magnetic closure really is just yes. And I like that it's almost the size of a Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Makes storing it a breeze. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm Recycled Stardust.